Yeah. You said that this first picking was connected to how much loot it was, how many medical items there exist. Do you have first picks when it's plentiful or when it's scarce?
We'll say if it's scarce that we won't pick first.
If
If
there's
it's
only one item?
if there's only one item, then we will merely just take the gold. I think that's fair. If there are numerous items, I do request first pick.
So you request first pick in either way as long as there's more than one item.
Yes. If that is okay with your part, once you discuss with them, we can barter further in the morning if you're not satisfied with the contract. The contract is actually magical. Our contracts are actually magical in nature. So once you sign it, it must either be completed or there are some penalties dealt with the guild and as well as the legal issues.
Alright, I will take this message to the rest.
All
I will
right,
come back in, and probably the rest of us will come back in the morning if we decide to continue this.
that sounds fair. You have a good evening, miss. Oh, by the way, don't be so hard on the guy. Um, we of
Why? Why
the
do you care?
Because when I was younger myself, I used to think I could lie and swindle my way out of everything. I've had some. I was, most of the treasure hunters are adults that never decided to grow up, so to speak. We are individuals that thrive on a life of adventure, and I do not think Ramus is any different. Um, and when you're on that kick and you see him kind of smile to himself, it's hard to be reasonable sometimes. I understand that. Lying is in our second nature. Thieves like us. And this is the first time you've actually heard him openly mention that he is a thief in procession. Um, so the first thing we usually do to try to get out of a precarious situation is lie. Most of the time we don't mean too much of it. The guild is not we are not malicious in nature. We just do it to cover our own self. I don't know how long Ramus has been with you. I don't know how far he has traveled with you, and I don't know the nature of the relationship with you and the rest of the party. However, when you're in our business, it is hard to trust people. Even though our organization is official and we have had people in the past, we are always very wary because of our bloody history with the other, what were once other thieves guilds. It's very very difficult to shake that notion.
So he's also part of the treasure hunting guild.
We do have a lie of sub. We do. There is an underbelly of the treasure hunters guild. I mean, it's the way we work. Our more lucrative businesses are held under wraps. And Ramus knows this. I know this. Anybody in the guild knows this. We treat our guild like family if we are assigned to our group. But that's with our group. That's we've been vetted. We've been checked. But when you are traveling with other people that you don't know very well, it's hard to give them your trust initially. I'm not saying that you have to change your mind about anything. I just wanted to give you a glimpse of how we work. And I apologize if I myself has caused you any distress. I would never wish that among people that I would associate with. But you look like, there's a lot on your mind. You look like you've been through a lot. I know of your battle earlier today. Um, I will get on the contract. And I will not try to uh, get into your business, as it were, anymore. I just wanted to let you know that that's the way we usually work. And it's very hard for somebody not in our mindset to think that way. Miss Winnow, you please have a lovely evening, and I will see you in the morning.
I have no hard will against you. Thank you for your words.
Uh,
Good night.
good night. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I will be right back.
Sorry, Ramas.
Oh yeah,
Ignoring
no
me.
sweat. Don't worry about it. I mean, I've kind of been lying off my ass to you guys this time, so
Yes, you have. But
it's
it's been
about
fun.
time that somebody called me on it.
Yeah, it's part of the tension of the characters. I like it. That works.
Yeah.
No. Had I
As
told
long
you
as
guys
everyone
I
thinks
was
it's fun in
Earendil
game,
before?
it's good.
I don't know if I had.
You picked flowers for me. So nice of you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're a druid. Ramus figures that you're a druid. You'll like flowery things. And he has
Should
another
probably.
fun little gift for you as well. It's
Dun, dun,
not.
dun.
I. That sounded awful when I said it out loud. There's another thing that he's gonna give you.
It doesn't sound better now when you open that box.
All right, morning comes finally, and you are all awoken by the sound of bells in the courtyard that are ringing 8 times. So it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. The sound of the bells from the Church of Pelor carry across the town. Um, Many of the farmers and many of the townsfolk who have not been injured in the dragon attack are already awake. They were probably awake by 6 in the morning easily. But morning comes. The orphanage is a bustle of activity. Various people trying to get the children fed, washed, whatever, and many people in the courtyard, rousing after taking shifts to further attend to the injured. Earendil Wildbeak rises from his sleep, waking you in the process. In front of the stable is a very, very tired looking Julie. Black Dog is actually not with her currently. And she, as Griff wakes up and goes towards the stable, goes towards Julie, she holds out a piece of meat that Griff, takes from her hand gingerly, and she looks at you. If what are you doing, Erenthil? Um, Once the hippogriff wakes up.
I'm waking up as well, I guess. I'm getting up, like getting on my feet, and just getting ready to go and move.
All right. Erenthil, will you walk with me for a minute? I wanted to talk to you about something, and she looks completely sober, like
Okay.
as if she hasn't drank for a night. And she looks very bleary, very tired, and she says, there is a small mountain. There's a small mountain path that begins around in the back of the orphanage. Let's walk there for a minute. I want to see if there is if anybody has used that path as of recent, just in case there is kobolds still hanging around that area. You can roll insight on her if you wish, Erenthil.
Uh, honestly, I think I would just follow her.
All right,
Like,
all right,
not all right.
all right.
Twice.
So you follow her. The courtyard is a bustle of activity. People are serving meals to the injured. There are kids running back and forth, helping with whatever they can. There are also children playing in the other side of the courtyard once they've been washed and have been fed themselves. You know, the younger, really young kids, like 4 years old, if even. You notice that Julie, you know, as you pass the children, she smiles and a small smile, and she looks to the orphanage, leading you to a small, very small, narrow path that starts going up the hills. She turns to you and she says, "How did you sleep well? How are you faring? I know this journey hasn't been very kind to most of us." Alex.
Yeah, I slept as good as you can on the back of a hippogriff, I guess.
Well, nobody told you had to sleep in the stables, but I know how you are sometimes. Um, so I wanted to talk to you. I already had scouted this path previously to make sure that there weren't any nooks and crannies that enemies could be hiding from, because you know how paranoid I can be sometimes. I wanted to apologize for not telling you everything I know. What the knowledge I have is doesn't quite concern you. It's more of my personal reasons. And she looks back at the orphanage and she's like, "Look, sometimes the things I hide are because I am afraid of things that might happen in the future. And in this case, obviously, because I'm not sure what we do here, how what we do here will affect the future. What I can tell you, and you have to promise me that you will not speak a word of this to anyone." And she looks very hard at you. "You are not to tell anybody what you know, what I know. This cannot get out. In the future, sure, because what's done is done. But right now, I will tell you this, and I trust you. I trust you with my life."
And I remain silent. I'm like looking at her, a bit hurt still.
I trust you with my life, and I do not give that trust very easily. There is only a handful of people I trust. You know I trust Maru. She mentions a couple other names. A couple of names you know from the commune. And she's like, in 20 years, yes, in about 20 years, uh, the Blue Sparrow Orphanage will have a shift in leadership. Well, it will be taken over by somebody else. Lek will not be around when we get back to our time. She was very close to me, and there's much I would love to talk to her about right now. So much. She saves me. She's the one who saved me. She's the one who sent me to Maru. The thing I'm most skeptical of, and I was reminded when I was back here, was the relic that she keeps around her neck. As far as I know, I don't know who has it right now. This kind of disturbs me slightly. I did not see it when I visited Wingfall in the future. I took a night to scout the area before the conclave started, and when I was tracking Pip, I did not see it on her, meaning that I don't know what happened to it, which concerns me a little bit. but that happens later on. I just want you to promise me that when we get back into the future, that if I have to go somewhere, you try to figure out where it went.
And I nod, like, in a
You cannot.
positive way.
Okay, you just nod and you confirm. You cannot tell anybody else about this. This item is not of their concern currently. The less people that know about this item, the better. Do you do you understand?
Yes, I will not speak of this to anyone.
Okay. She gives you a very hard look. Earendil, is there something you want to tell me?
That might be. Do you promise not to kill me?
She puts her bow to the side. She tosses her swords, her scimitars to you. And she rolls up her sleeves, so you see, and 2 daggers fall out from her sleeves. And she pulls out her leather gloves. I promise not to kill you with any weapons. What?
I told everyone about it.
And you just see her just stare at you. And then she goes to a nearby cliffside, like a rock face, and just goes, I'm gonna have to have a talk with him, aren't I? She slams her.
Yeah.
They
deserve to know. They deserve to know. They have been traveling with us for a while now. They deserve the truth. We shouldn't. Keeping secrets is what got us in this. In the first place.
Earendil, when we get back into the future, you have a lot of training, and she says it with a very, harsh tone. You have a lot of training you have to catch up on. Then, Earendil, you know that training in Julie's terms is
taking a beating.
is pretty much taking a beating. And I will see that Maru personally gives you a lesson. You have trained with Maru in the past. She is very old at that in the future. She is probably around 80, but she still moves as if she is still 50-ish still. She can get around. There are many things that Maru did during your training lesson that left you sore for days, if not weeks, pushing you to the point of exhaustion, starvation, and Maru does these things with you sometimes, and she looks like she takes it without a second thought.
Okay. I say I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
Even if you could.
All right. You guys walk for a few more hours in awkward silence. You
say you look like you haven't had a drink in a while.
I'm quitting, she says.
I try not to laugh.
She takes out a flask. Clearly, she dumps some of it out. It's clearly water. She takes a swig. I had a talk with Lek. She was concerned about my drinking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
I think it's good for you. I think it's good for you. You should totally quit.
Thanks.
You have my support. Anything you need.
Anything?
And I just start laughing. Like loudly.
She looks very. She looks at you for a really long time. 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes pass without her saying anything as you guys stand there. and she says, "If anything happens to me, you take care of Black Dog." And she says this with the most serious face that you think she's ever produced in front of you. She is not smiling. There is no light tone to her voice at all. She says, "And I know you will do this for me. You take care of him. He is pretty much my family. And at this point, your family as well. You take care of him. You make sure nothing happens to him if harm comes to me." Roll an insight check to try to gauge maybe some deeper meaning to her words.
I hope she's not dying. Guys, I'm scared.
You're not sure if thinks she's gonna die. You're not sure if you can't quite get a read on. She's masking everything else quite well. You're not quite sure what this means, but she says, "You take very good care of them. And if I come back from beyond the grave and hear that harm has come to one of my best friends, I will gut you, and I will personally bring you to the lowest level of the 9 hells."
And I just say, of course I'll take care of him. That's what we do. We take care of family.
You're right. The rest of the walk passes uneventfully, and then you eventually come back down after a couple hours of walking this pass. Kasov, you are up. What are you doing?
Well, I just
You're pretty much
out
all
that-
healed up. You memorized your spells and
Yep.
whatnot.
Yeah, I just wake up, go downstairs at the inn, and see if I can grab a quick breakfast. I'm gonna head over to the orphanage first thing, just because I'm sort of hanging out there.
All right. You get back.
One thing, yeah. One thing that I do want to do while I'm at the orphanage is sort of ask around about like the area of Forge, because I don't know the area too well. I
right.
imagine. So I'm just
Forge,
wondering where we're going.
You could probably you can probably grab Pip, the gnome cleric who is usually not too far away from Lek at any given point in time, but at this point she is, you don't see Lek anywhere, and she overhears you talking about Forge, and she steps up and it's like, she tells you a little about the area. Forge is nearly on the border of, so if you look at the map, she can map. There we go. Forge is in Dighton, on the border of the Godarn and Dighton, near the border of the Godarn and Dighton country. It is a foraging town, obvious by its name. Used to be more of a mining town, not so much in capacity anymore. She knows a little bit of the town, what it does. Other than that, it's a normal town, hardworking folk, simple folk, mostly human.
Yeah, I just ask like if the surrounding area is like lots of mountains, rivers.
It's mostly wooded. There are some very small mountain ranges, very high hills, but mostly the area is decorated with deciduous forest.
Okay, that sounds good, Pip. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. I'm always happy to help. Yeah. Okay. Ramas, you wake up from wherever you decided to sleep. There is a small bunch of wilted flowers next to you, slightly wilted.
Of course.
And it's morning. You hear bells. Are you in the inn? Or are you at the orphanage at this point in time? All right. There are kids around laughing. The older ones are helping people in the courtyard. There is a bustle of activity that started as early as 6 or 7 in the morning. What are you doing?
Gonna First, I'm gonna leave Marmoset to play with the kids.
Okay. So you take out the marmoset and some of the
Marmot.
marmot. Marmosets are monkeys. You don't have a monkey. You have a marmot. So you
I
take
have Marmoset the Marmot.
small monkey the marmot. Okay. Um, you give marmoset to a group of older kids, maybe 10 to 13-ish, and they play around with it and show the younger ones, making sure that the small creature is not harmed by the younger kids. You do notice something about the children now that you're interacting with them readily. Could you roll me an insight?
Can do.
You have no idea. They just seem like regular kids. Maybe a little more mature than you're used to, but you know they seem perfectly average-ish. Wino, what are you doing?
I'm probably waiting in the war room, like sitting on a chair, waiting for people to come.
Okay. Um, would you have let maybe Lek or Hunter or Pip or any of the servants, employees running around the orphanage that maybe to let your friends know that you'll be meeting them there, or are you just waiting there?
Yeah, I probably didn't do it first, but then after a while when some of them pass me, I like tell them, can you give the message to the rest to meet me?
This human mousy looking woman said, yes, of course. I'll let if I see your friends, I'll let them know, and I'll tell the rest of the employees to let your friends know as well. So throughout the morning, individual employees of the orphanage, when they meet the rest of you, let you know that Hwinnil is actually waiting for your presence in Lek's war room, which she has, let you guys have free reign over. She told you what certain sigils to press on the door if you need to use it, if you need a private quarters to talk to people. Julie leaves your side, Earendil. She says she's going to attend to the wounded while you take care of your business after a employee had told you that when I was waiting for you in the war room, Ramas, after you talk with the kids, that somebody finds you, and Pip will find you, Kasov, and let you know that your new compatriot is actually working. It's in the war room waiting for your presence. Akros, blearily walks into the war room, kind of sleep. Yeah, you guys probably are at level 4. Kasov is still at level 3.
No, I'm level 5.
5? 5? When did we get to 5?
Last session.
20...
Did we?
Not 20... You're at 2900, I thought.
Yeah, that's 4.
Oh, that's 4, so it's... Oh. Okay.
Okay.
That happens, bro.
It's okay, it happens.
I thought
It
that was
happens.
level 5.
No, like 2700 is level... Yeah, 2700 is level 4.
Yeah, it is. I'm
Yeah,
stupid.
it's okay. It's perfectly fine. I've done that a lot too. But you all eventually get the
I'll never
message.
forgive you. You tried to shit. No, that's
You guys eventually get the message that when I was waiting for you in the war room, Akros went there first because he pretty much just slept after reliving. There were a couple screams in the orphanage if you guys were staying there, of Akros waking up from a nightmare of a dragon chomping on his shoulder, being devoured. But he looks okay. But you're there, and then eventually everybody else is told, and you guys can head to the war room if you wish.